On today's episode of the CLS Experience with a very exclusive treat, she's a self-made entrepreneur, champion of women, powerhouse philanthropist, dynamic speaker, and co-founder of It Cosmetics, a company she started in her living room and sold to L'Oreal for 1.2 billion, no big deal. From being a Denny's waitress to gracing the Forbes list and becoming a New York Times bestselling author, her story is a testament to what relentless perseverance and believing in your dreams can achieve. Big facts. Beyond her business success, she's a beacon of hope and inspiration, empowering individuals across the globe to overcome self-doubt and embrace their true authentic selves. Her best-selling book, Believe It, isn't just a memoir. It's a battle cry for anyone who's ever had a dream and faced obstacles, teaching us the power of resilience, faith, and determination while being true to yourself. Her newest book, Worthy, will shatter paradigms. She's just a juggernaut in all facets of life and an extraordinary human being. Imagine what you'd do if you fully believed in you. Let's dive deeper. Please welcome the relentless, empowering, beautiful, brilliant, and abundant, the authentic visionary, Jamie Kern Lima. How you doing, Jamie?
Craig, I am so good. I am fired up for this episode and to add value to each person who's joining us. And I just have to say that might be the best intro I've ever heard. Just the thoughtfulness behind it, not even the content of it that you shared about me, but the way you wrote that. Props to that. That was very beautiful. I love it.
I received that. Mission accomplished. I take great pride in that. It's a little bit of effort, but thank you so much. And as I always like to say to a lot of mutual friends, it's your story. You wrote it. I just said it with a little bit of enthusiasm.
Yeah, you did. Just the way you put it together. Thank you for that. I'm excited. Thank you for having me. I am so fired up about Worthy. And yeah, my first book, Believe It, was really my story of learning to believe in myself. But Worthy is like the playbook on how do you believe in you. And so I'm just honored to be here and share this time together. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. And we're going to make the most of every second. It's going to be action packed. And I just want to start right there. One of the many reasons why I love this book and I devoured it is because this book is not niche. It's literally for everybody. And one of the really powerful questions that you ask, and I think this is awesome, is that what has self-doubt already cost you in your life?
Mm.
And that's
Mhm.
such a mind twist and really shatters paradigm. What does that question mean to you?
Whew. This question, what does self-doubt already cost you in your life? For me, the answer is way too much. The answer is way too much. And I think that, hearing you share some of the things, right? Like I went from Denny's waitress to building $1 billion business and over 1,000 employees, all the things. I think that also there are so many things in my life that either did not happen or almost didn't happen because I almost doubted myself out of my own destiny. And I think for so many people listening and uh, why I wrote Worthy, why self-worth is so important. There's a lot of people thinking like, oh, I just need more confidence. I'm going to crush it. I need more confidence. And they don't realize what they really need is self-worth. And they're very different. They're very different. A lot of people, you know, they think they have a net worth issue when what they actually really have is a self-worth issue, because our self-worth is our ceiling. Like our self-worth is our ceiling in every area of life, in our business success, in our personal relationships, in our goals and dreams, because in our lives and in our businesses, we actually don't become what we want. We become what we believe we're worthy of. And so when our self-worth is our ceiling, we will go after things and not know why we're sabotaging them. We'll go after things and not know why we hit a plateau. And we will think that, oh, I've got to get more skills, or I've got to get more experience, or I've got to do the things that build more confidence. And while that might be true, we can have all the skills. We can have all the talent. We can have all of the self-confidence. But if underneath it all, deep down inside, we don't believe we're worthy of the thing, it will not happen. Or we'll get it and we'll lose it, or we'll get it and we'll sabotage it. And this is universal for men, for women, in business, in life, in your goals, in your careers, in your ambitions, in your calling. I do not care. It's why we look at people who win the lotto and then lose it all, or seemingly accomplish what the world says should make you feel so great. You just won the gold medal. You just landed on the moon, whatever it is. And then before you know it, they're back down to sabotaging their whole life, because we can accomplish stuff all day long and build a whole lot of confidence. And that is important, but it is very different than self-worth. And I learned this the hard way in my life after accomplishing a whole lot of things and not realizing that while I was very confident and while the world was telling me I had it all, why did I still feel not enough inside? Why did I still not feel fulfilled? And why was I still sabotaging things in different areas of my life? And so what I have grown to believe is that self-worth is that one thing that changes everything in every area of your life.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. And I encourage the audience, about 6 million hours, run that back, grab the journal. And also, I know we didn't like after, we didn't talk about some of the old stuff. Guys, if you weren't familiar with Jamie, do a deep dive, play catch up, read her first book, check out all the awesome stuff she has going on. I'm sure most people know you. But what you just said, what you just dropped, those nuggets, I think it's a lot deeper than what people actually think. Because I imagine, and for all those people that are really visual like me, you have a pretty cool chart in the book that shows the comparison between self-worth and self-confidence.
Mm.
And it's awesome. And it's so true. You can accomplish things, anybody can learn skills, but it won't be sustainable. You'll sabotage it, or even worse, it won't create lasting fulfillment. And at the end of the day, that's what it's really all about. And lasting fulfillment is built on something that's invisible, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. And there's this lie that a lot of our friends talk about, our mutual friends and just people out there. They believe like, okay, well, if I think I'm enough and I have strong self-worth, am I going to lose my edge? It's like, oh no, you actually don't lose your edge when you learn to believe you're enough and learn to believe you are worthy of things. You actually become so much more fearless and more ambitious, because you know, even if I go for something and I fall flat on my face and I fail, it might shake my confidence, but it cannot touch my self-worth, which is different. And so, yeah, to kind of break it down, I put a whole chart in the book. There is equations that anyone who
Awesome.
does not like math, don't worry, you don't got to know math, but to see it visually, this is huge. This was a life-changing lesson for me, because for anybody listening to us right now who's super ambitious and who's hungry and who's chasing things and building things, this is the thing that helps you totally go to the next level. And without it, you never will. Or at best, you'll arrive at the next level and still feel like something's missing, like you are not enough. It's why, okay, so let me break it down for a second.
Please.
So again, so many of us think we need more self-confidence, and that might be true. But so often what we actually need is more self-worth. So self-confidence, while it is an internal trait, super, super important, it is largely based on the external, on things happening all around us. It's fragile, it fluctuates. It is our self-confidence is how we assess our skills and abilities, our willingness to try and go for it, how we feel we stack up and measure against others, comparisons of how much of the world's definition of success we think we have, if we're winning or losing at any moment, right? The studies show that the boxer who wins the fight is automatically more confident, automatically 30% more confident. Our confidence fluctuates, it rises and falls. We are raised seeing commercials and ads, and then we have well-intended friends and family members, if we are blessed enough to have it, and all the messages coming at us are actually all things that we learn to believe if we get, we'll finally feel enough and happy, but they all just build confidence, meaning we'll see things that tell us if you just get a certain number in the bank account, then you'll finally feel happy. Or if you finally get married or have kids, or, and for anyone listening who's had these big dreams and thought, oh, one day when I have that CEO title, one day when my business is 7 figures, one day when I get 1 million followers on social media, one day when I get 6-pack abs, one day when I get that dream car, then I'm going to be crushing it. I'm going to feel enough. And how many of us have worked for a year, a decade, or more, and finally got that thing? And we thought when we got it, we would feel fulfilled, happy, enough. But then we arrive at it and we're happy for a minute. And before we know it, we're back to feeling like something's missing. And we think, okay, well, the answer is I've got to hustle harder. I've got to take it to the next level and the next level. And growth is so important. All of this is important in life, but what we're doing in the pursuit of those things is we're building a lot of self-confidence, which is really important. But none of those things build self-worth, which is different. Self-worth is the deep internal belief and knowing that you are worthy of love and belonging exactly as you are.
Yeah.
Not as your past mistakes or failures or regrets, not as how much of the world's definition of success you have, but exactly innately as you are. And again, people believe, well, wait a minute, if I believe that, am I going to lose my ambition? It's like, oh no. The higher your self-worth, the higher you raise your self-worth, because here's the thing, your self-confidence is like the house you're building in your life with all the rooms and the art and all the things, but your self-worth is the foundation beneath that house. And your house will only ever be as stable as the foundation of your self-worth beneath it. And your self-worth is your ceiling. And so 3 ways, just for anyone listening, Craig, to you and me, if
Yep.
they're wondering like, well, wait a minute, I thought those were the same thing. And most of my life, I thought self-confidence, self-worth, same thing. What's the difference? Who cares? And then I realized, oh, by me not knowing the difference, I am crushing it in one area of my life, but I'm sabotaging friendships thinking I'm not worthy of them and not knowing why. Like we can be crushing it in certain areas, but if underneath it all, we fundamentally do not believe we are enough, it will show up in 3 main ways in our lives. So for everyone listening, when you have low self-worth, and again, let me just say this one more time, you can be crushing it on the outside. Everyone can think that everything's going well, and it can look like it is. But if you have low self-worth, what that often looks like is you're stuck in some area and you don't know why. Like you want to find a romantic partner, but you're not getting on the dating app and you're not going out and socializing and you don't know why. Or you want to write a book and you want to write a book. You're like, I know I have a story inside of me. And you're like not writing the first word and you don't know why. And we usually when we're stuck, we tell ourselves stories of like, oh, I've just got to get more experience. I've got to build more skill sets. I've got to, and those things may be true. But here's the key. When most likely, this is why people are most often stuck, is that deep down inside, they don't actually believe they're worthy of the thing. And when we don't believe we're worthy, like you do not soar to the level of your goals and dreams. You stay stuck at the level of your self-worth. And I talk about this in the book Worthy, about how we don't rise to what we believe is possible in our lives. We actually fall to what we believe we're worthy of. So that is most commonly how low self-worth shows up, is you're stuck. If you have low to medium, what that looks like, low to medium self-worth, is you'll go for the thing. You'll like put yourself out there and then you'll hit a ceiling. You want your business to be 6 figures or 7 figures, but you hit a ceiling at 4 or 5 figures and you don't know why. You can't get past the ceiling, or you'll go for the thing, but you'll sabotage it along the way. Like you'll put yourself out there in the dating apps. You'll actually meet someone who's amazing. And then you're like, I don't know why I'm not attracted to that person. And you put them in the friend zone. Like when deep down inside, we don't believe we are worthy of something, we will sabotage it or we'll hit a ceiling. And then the third way, if you have, medium to high self-worth, which, a lot of people that are achievers or super ambitious people are this way, you'll go for the thing and you'll actually get it. You'll actually get the thing. You'll meet that goal. You'll pass that threshold. You'll put that book out into the world. You'll hit that goal in your business. All the things, you'll get the marriage and the kids and the 6-pack abs and whatever it is for you that you are, super ambitious over, but you'll arrive at it still feeling like something's missing, still feeling like it's not enough, and still feeling like you're not enough. So you live perpetually unfulfilled. And by the way, this is why a lot of people will leave a job, because they think something's missing, or they'll leave a marriage or a relationship. They'll think something's missing. So it must be my partner's fault. When deep down inside, we do not believe we are enough. And as you and I are talking right now, 80% of women do not believe they're enough. 73% of men feel inadequate and not enough. And when you believe you are not enough as who you are, it is a lie. It is a lie that affects every area of your life. And why I wrote the book Worthy is because I learned the hard way that that lie will lead to so much self-doubt that you will doubt yourself out of your own destiny. And I just believe the time to unlearn that lie has come. No woman, no man, no person left behind, and knowing they are worthy. Okay, don't get me so fired up in here. I'm like jumping out of my chair.
First of all, I love you. So there's that. This is epic because it's so obvious that this is a message that is coming through you. Like you're the channel, and this is what you're supposed to tell the world right now. And I've been vocal about saying I think unworthiness is the biggest virus going today. And sometimes that's controversial. And get this, you created the antidote, a book called Worthy on how to believe in yourself. And the person that you were just describing was me. Before I reinvented myself and I was on Wall Street, I had external things, the relationships, but I was empty inside. And if you continue to practice what you're talking about, these principles, these steps, buy into the system, then you can never really get crushed too bad because you're elevating your self-worth. Confidence, like you said, it comes and goes, right? Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, sometimes you have momentum, sometimes you don't. But as long as you keep increasing your capacity to build your self-worth, then it's like higher floors. You can never get too low. And that's something that's sustainable. And ultimately that creates lasting fulfillment. I wanted to ask you something real quick. You mentioned the word knowing a lot. And I know it's a big part of the original story and so forth. When an investor passed on you and you said, that's when I knew I had this knowing. You talk about it often also in this book. I'm curious because I'm spiritual and I'm really big at that stuff. Maybe the listeners don't know exactly. What do you mean? And what does it feel like when you have a knowing? And is that maybe connected to your faith?
Such a good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before.
This
Such a
is
good
deep stuff,
question.
the good
Deep
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
We're not messing around today. Deep stuff. Every person listening to you and me right now, I believe, I know, has a knowing or an intuition or a gut feeling about stuff. And I believe your knowing is more powerful than anyone else's advice. And for some people, they might meditate and ask the universe for how to tap into that. For me, I will get still, I will pray, and it is how I hear God talk to me. It's through my intuition. I have never heard God speak out loud, but I get this impression, this feeling. And I believe that as every one of us, men and women, there is so much noise all around us, so much noise, vitriol, this, that. There's so much going on that so many of us don't even know how to hear our own intuition, our own gut, our own knowing. And it is so strong, it will tell you the answer. It'll tell you the answer. And you can look at the science and the data, and you can look at how it shows that because our bodies are powerful, right? And it can show how sometimes when you know something is off or a lie or incongruent or whatever, you actually, if you really tune in, you can feel your body get tense, right? It's sometimes how you can know a friend is not the right friend, or a circle you just walked into isn't right for you. And a lot of us learn to ignore these things, and we just use our head to have logical thoughts about why we should just sit in that circle or sit in that job or sit in that relationship or not write the book or think that we don't have what it takes or think our past is somehow going to disqualify us from all of these, goals and callings and ambitions and dreams on our heart. All that comes from our head. Our self-doubt comes from our head. And by the way, this journey of worthiness and why I wrote Worthy, it is not about all these things you got to learn that you've never heard. It is about how do you unlearn the lies that lead to self-doubt and ignite the truths that wake up worthiness. And tuning into your knowing and learning how to do that, every man, every woman, is huge. It is huge because your body will tell you, it'll tell you. And I heard Martha Beck say this once, that every lie you feel tense and every truth makes you relax.
Mhm.
It is how I know if I am in the right place of worship. It is how I know if I am on the right show with the right person. It is how I know if I'm in the right friend group. I tune in and I feel that. And when I look at how did I build $1 billion business from my living room, and how did I hear no after no after no after no, I'm talking hundreds of no's for years. If I had not learned to get still and to say, okay, God, right? And this is universal, no matter if a person practices any particular faith. I believe every one of us has this. I would, okay, God, why is the world telling me I am getting no traction in my business? They're telling me, and a lot of these no's, by the way, Craig, a lot of these no's I was told from retailers to carrying my product, they weren't like, no, come back later. They were like, like, no, like there is no possible way you are ever going to be a fit for us or ever make us any money. And it is so hard for us to not let hearing other people's no's turn into doubt about ourself or our potential or our business or our ideas in our own head. But what's harder than that is to not let our own no's that we're telling ourselves all day long, like somehow talk us out of our calling. And when you learn how to turn down the volume, almost like a giant volume dial, turn down the volume on your own thoughts, which is where our self-doubt lives, which is not who you are, and it is not the truth. And you learn to tune into your own knowing and your soul and that inner voice, whether you hear it through meditation and through, any type of spiritual practice, or you hear it through prayer, and turn up the volume on that knowing. Your knowing is always more powerful than everyone else's advice. And I made so many business decisions this way. I made so many decisions to risk everything in the one shot I got on QVC, where I was either going to go bankrupt after years of no's, or it was going to change the course of my entire business and life. And I was in this moment where everything was on the line and what I was going to do in this one shot on QVC, where even though I was only selling, 1 to 2 orders a day on our website, I had to sell over 6,000 units of product in a 10-minute window to hit their sales goal or not come back. And every expert told me what I needed to do that. And I knew in my gut that that was inauthentic to me. And I had this knowing that, number one, you cannot fake authenticity. Customers are smart. And number two, that while authenticity alone does not automatically guarantee success, inauthenticity guarantees failure every time, over time. Sometimes people come out here and they crush it in whatever space they're in, and you get that feeling in your body like something's incongruent when I watch them on social media. 2 years later, you don't hear of them anymore, because over time, the truth of who you are is your power. No matter what that truth is, no matter if it's odd or quirky or different or what package it comes in or any of the other things. And so learning to tune into that knowing, right? And for every man and every woman listening, this is the thing. This is the thing. And if you're sitting there listening to us right now and you're like, oh, Craig, Jamie, I don't know how to even hear my own intuition or my own knowing. I see it as it's almost like putting in the reps and building muscle over time. And one tool to do that really quick, in case this adds value to someone listening right now who's like, how do I do this right now in my life? My favorite way to build up that intuition, if you have not heard it again, is to just think about, first of all, just think about past moments in your life. Take some time and reflect on moments where you had a gut feeling, and maybe everyone else is like, oh, you got to do this with your business or this with your idea or this with your relationship, whatever. And you decided to not trust that feeling that you had, and you listen to them instead. And then think about what happened in that outcome. And then similarly, go back and think about, what were those times when people around you were like, I don't know about that. You shouldn't, but you had that feeling and you made the decision to trust it. And then think about what happened after that. And you start doing pattern recognition, where you start to then recall the memories of what it feels like when you feel something and when you trust it or when you don't. And I love doing that, because for me, the feeling of tuning into that knowing has become so much more familiar and quick to go to. And the example you're referencing, yeah, I had one potential investor at a huge private equity company tell me that at the very end of our meeting, I thought they were going to invest. I thought it was going to be my like knight in shining armor. And the very end of the meeting, he says, it's a no. We're not going to invest in you. And I just don't think women will buy makeup from someone who looks like you with your body and your weight. And when he said it, I never had any anger toward him, but this thing hit me in my gut that said he's wrong. Like he's wrong. Like I felt it in my gut. And here's what we do. When we have had painful setbacks, when we have had rejections and failures. By the way, in the book Worthy, I go into this chapter 2 called When You Change Your Relationship with Rejection, You Change Your Entire Life. Because here's the thing, and this is big. I trained myself to become fearless with rejection and failure. Now, I got a lot of other issues in my life right now, but fear of rejection and failure is not one of them. I train myself so that in the pursuit of my goals and dreams, I do not care who says no or it's not the right fit. I don't let that take root in my belief about my potential. But what I want to say quickly is, for anyone listening especially, is that we so often will get rejections and failures. We think we're alone in them because no one else posts their rejections and failures online. We think we're alone and they hurt our confidence. But when we let a rejection or a failure or a past one, it could have been in our childhood, could have been in a past relationship, could have been in a past business dealing. When we let a rejection or a failure take root in our self-worth, that is when, instead of thinking I got rejected or failed, we think I'm a failure. I'm a reject. And we bury that deep and it will chip away at our self-worth and what we believe is possible for ourselves. And so I go in deep on a 4-part framework in Worthy on how to not only reveal what your current definition, the meaning you're attaching to rejection and failure is right now, but how to redefine it, how to revisit past rejections and failures, how to redefine those so that they're not taking root in your self-worth, because our self-worth is our ceiling. So
Jamie, you're such a beautiful soul. And I just want to say, a lot of people know about you selling your company for over $1 billion in cash and all that stuff and all the great stuff that you're up to. I think that you're a little bit overlooked with the stuff that you just dropped. And you're so good at being able to connect. And look, if you want to go higher, you have to go deeper. And you're able to become available to draw upon those divine inspiration, that one idea, that one thought, that knowing that is really the juicy stuff that could dictate the rest of your life and so forth. And you're so good at that. I want to acknowledge you for that.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know you said this feels channeled, and very few people pick up on that. Worthy felt like such a divine download, and I think I also think so many times in life the things we go through become the things we make it through, but also that we can then really collectively help others make it through as well. I think that's where we find our deepest sense of purpose. And the example of that investor that told me the most painful no, like in that moment when I felt like he's wrong, like he gave me a no, but God gave me a knowing. That feeling was a knowing. And our life and our business and our goals and our dreams and our hopes and our relationships and our calling will come down to which one we listen to. Do we listen to the no's all around us, the no's in our own head, or do we listen to our knowing? Whether you hear that from your creator or however you hear it, we all have it. We all have it. And it is the thing. It is the thing. And so I just want to also honor you for recognizing that and talking about that. And it's the thing. So yeah.
I would love to just put the attention out there that maybe if and when there's a third book, it's a little bit about that stuff, because you're so good at that. And everybody has access, but not everybody knows how to implement that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
And
is,
you do, because you see it, right? So
yeah,
often when we can see and honor something in another person,
it's an
it's because it
energy.
speaks to the truth in us too.
It's an
Mhm.
energy, and it's
Mhm.
contagious, and it's oozing out of you, quite frankly.
Mm.
This was unbelievable. Final minute, a little rapid fire, maybe one word answers. We'll get a little weird. You ready for me?
Sure.
Favorite movie?
Woo. Okay. Uh, this is wow. So many, so many. I'll just say Dead Poet Society.
Classic. Your last meal on earth would be?
Azteca Mexican restaurant from Washington State.
Sounds scrumptious. Your favorite guilty pleasure?
Okay. I have a lot of friends on reality shows, and my husband gets so mad. He will leave the room. He will go watch UFC in one room, and I will watch like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in another. So
I love it. The workout.
Favorite workout?
Yeah.
I built this loop that I walk, and I power walk, and I go up and down these stairs like Rocky, like the movie Rocky. And I have these 2 sets of stairs. I would say outdoor nature walking early in the morning, like early.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Favorite book, not including yours?
Woo. Not including mine. Okay. So many. So many. Okay.
Maybe
So
what
many.
you're into right now.
And I'm looking at all my friends on my shelf behind me with books. And I'm looking at all my friends. Favorite book. I'm going to say, of course, the Bible, my book, all my friends' books. What I Know for Sure by Oprah, one of my favorite books as well. So many. Yeah, so many. Books are great, by the way. We're in this day and age where we spend all our time scrolling Instagram, all this kind of stuff. Oh my gosh. Like, you read a book, it changes your life. It changes your life. It shifts your perspective. And you know this, and anyone listening who has written a book knows this. You are getting just like decades of somebody's knowledge packed into something that costs you $20. And it's just like, and you know this, but the years that you can pour into a book, and then to get that just in your hands. And it's funny that, I don't know if you found this too. We have a lot of mutual friends, but I feel like the most successful people in the world, like, they all read books. Like, there's just this, and that saying, success leaves clues. I think it's powerful when you get a book and you're pouring into yourself in that way. So yeah, I have a lot of favorites.
Yeah, same, but you get it. A lot of people consume, but they don't necessarily apply. But I know, like you do, like these people, it's years and years and years into a little, 4-hour, 5-hour read, depending upon how fast read you are. And what can you do with that knowledge? It enables us to kind of minimize some of the dummy taxes they might have paid.
Right. Yes.
And last one, very deep. Favorite musician.
So right now, this is going to be a totally out there answer, or unexpected maybe, because I love music. I sat in a sermon with Stephen Furtick at Elevation Church, and he dropped a new song that was not out yet. And it was about how it was about expecting miracles in your life again. And especially even if you're going through a hard time or a hard season or setbacks, or things aren't going your way, or someone broke your heart, or someone pulled the rug out from underneath you. And he's talking about in this song about that when good things have happened to you in the past, or you've been able to trust faith in the past, God will do that again. And he says, if he told the sun when to rise, and it did, he will again. And he goes through all this, and then he broke out live into the song. And I was literally sitting there surrounded by grown men and women. We're all just sobbing because we connected with it. So favorite musician right now, I would say, just coming out of that experience, Stephen Furtick, Elevation Church.
I love the synchronicities here, not a coincidence. I only came across him recently because his show is on TV on Sundays, and I started DVRing it. I grew up Jewish, but what's most important to me is my connection. And I recently came across him, and I love it. So passionate. I didn't know he sung also. I just thought he was like a pastor with a lot of energy, but that's good to know.
Yeah. It's wild. He's just like, you talk about people channeling, and you just feel it too, and to see it in person. And yeah, that's great that you caught his message. There's so many great communicators out there. So
the good stuff, the deep stuff. I'm gonna buy a couple extra books also, and for our community, take a screenshot of the episode, post your favorite nugget from this episode, and I'll give a couple out. This was so much fun. We're gonna put all this stuff in the show notes. Jimmy, hang up for 1 sec. I want to connect with you after. I want you to know the definition of vulnerability, courage, and humility. I could personally guarantee your best is yet to come. Keep on spreading your wings and leaving your mark on this world. So much love and respect for you. Thank you so much for stopping by and dropping these priceless, juicy nuggets today.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was awesome. I could talk to you all day.
It was so great.
Yeah, a lot of synchronicities and a lot of I catch the deep stuff. And
Yeah, you do.
yeah, I
You
love when you talk
do.
about that.
You do.
That's the good
But
stuff.
yeah, but people don't notice like the stuff you notice
Yeah,
on a granular level and the
yeah,
stuff you say on a granular level.
yeah.
And even your intro, but just it's very different. Like I hear intros all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And
Well,
I was like, yeah.
yeah,
So this is why you're successful.
thank you so much
This
for
is
saying that.
why. Yeah, that's it's very rare. It's very special. Like,
Thank you. I really
hmm
appreciate that. I love to build a friendship. I love to stay connected.
let's do it.
Yeah. You ever come out to New York or?
I do sometimes.